Asante. Tumpigie Amina makofi tafadhali. Tumpigie makofi. Let's make it louder. They are recording. That's Amina.
Thank you.
Asante. Thank you so much. I'd like to welcome my panelists. I'll call upon one of your favorite actors. They'll give us the details of who they are as soon as they get on stage. But of course, how about we welcome National Treasure, Isaboke. Tumpigie makofi tafadhali anapokuja. Hey, hiyo ni National Treasure kweli. Tuache wivu. Tumpigie makofi. All the way from South Africa, I'd like to welcome an amazing lady. She's going to introduce herself, but of course, let's put our hands together as we welcome Thandazile Mieza. Welcome. Tumpigie makofi. Let's make it louder. And of course, a gentleman that I respect so much. He is a director and also a filmmaker. Let's put our hands together as we welcome Ruben Odanga. Tumpigie makofi anapokuja. So we have about 40 minutes to be here. We'll start with the intros. There's microphones by your side. Just make sure that it's working. Is there a microphone? Yes. Thandazile, that's not yours, eh? Yeah. So how many people know Isaboke? How many people have seen Isaboke? Yes. Nice. Ama, you've paid them because most of them know you.
It's campaign season. Lazima uchote wase so.
So, quick intros of who you are and what you do within the space of acting. Today's conversation will be about intimacy coordination, okay? So we'll get to break that down and, of course, get an explainer from the experts who will share with us their experience. Just talk to us.
My name is Nyakundi Isaboke. I am an actor. I was born and raised in Nairobi. Nilizaliwa hapa Pumwani 32 years ago. I went to school here in Kibera and finished my high school in Kisii Cardinal Otunga High School. Started acting 15 years ago. I don't remember the number of credits that I have to my name, but I am grateful that I get to work as an actor. I am grateful that I get to share my passion with the rest of the country, and yeah, I just get to do what I dreamt I would do as a child, and yeah, it's amazing. Yeah, I get to appear on the magic box.
Nice.
Yes.
Thandazile, talk to us.
Hello, everybody. My name is Thandazile, but I go by the name of Thanda. Thandazile is too long. Thanda Mieza. I am from South Africa. I am a performing arts graduate. So I started studying drama in high school, grade 8 it was. I don't know what you call it here, Form 1. And then from then I went to the Durban University of Technology in South Africa to study drama. So I specialize now in music scoring. I did specialize in singing, but now I'm a music publisher and all of these things that happen behind the scenes. Growing up, I thought I'd be an actress because it was cute. It was glamorous. Well, it looked glamorous. So I did move up to Joburg from Durban to start my career in acting. It turned out it was not as glamorous as I thought it was. 6 to 6, shooting, you know. The glamorous side only happens out of work. So I decided to go behind the scenes. I started working as a production secretary in one of the biggest production houses in South Africa. I'm not going to mention them, but I've worked for a couple. I also did some acting on Generations, which I know is most popular in the upper African countries. After that, I decided to venture into directing and producing. So currently, I'm focusing on music publishing and music scoring. So basically, here I'm going to speak mostly on the actor's perspective or on the actor's space, which is where the actor prepares for intimacy. Thank you.
Thank you very much. You can clap for her, tafadhali. Ruben, I know I tried introducing you, but I failed epically. So how would you ordinarily introduce yourself?
Check. My name is Ruben Odanga. I'm a filmmaker, a producer. I have long specialized on long formats. Currently, we are slightly above 1,500 episodes on Prime TV produced. We have also gotten into short formats and feature films. And I'm very keen in Pan-Africanism and collaboration across the globe. And that's why today we screen Safari in the evening, which is a Nigeria-Kenya collaboration. So that's what I do. It pays rent.
Thank you very much. He's just being modest. How many of you have watched Selena? Ati, oh, how many of you are currently watching Lazizi? Oh, nice. So he's the man responsible for that. And of course, there's a film that's going to be done today. It's the premiere today, and we are excited about it. It's called Safari. Now, how many of you watch movies generally? Any kind of movies, any kinds of film? Could be everyone. Sindio, work with me. I don't want it to be boring. Mnaniangalia aje? I don't want it to be boring. How many of you watch films? How many of you skip a part when it's an intimate scene? Hey, ndio zenyu? Yeah. So, I'd like to know, Ruben, why is it that we can't avoid intimate scenes in productions? Why must we include it? For me, when I write, I just stay away from that because I don't know how to deal with such scenes. But why is it important for us to have intimate scenes within productions?
So 2 ways to look at it. One, an artist is a very dangerous, bold, prophetic, religious, political, philosophical being. And the things an artist is trying to create or express sometimes do not necessarily have to be their own ideas. So from the writer's point of view, when you're writing a love story, it doesn't necessarily mean you ascribe, or you're writing those intimate scenes, doesn't necessarily mean you ascribe to those things. We are literally a reflection of society. On the other bit of the flip of the coin is because you're a mirror of society, our work is just to say these things happen. We are not saying we are advocating for them. We're just saying that, you are born, and because you are born, then it means you're a product of two people. But how the expression of that particular act, there's a thin line between love, lust, rape, and all those, and porn and all those. So we're just reflecting society. And in doing that, we're telling a story. Obviously, sometimes we are pushing an agenda. We're elevating culture and all those things. But the main thing is we are just reflecting what's happening in society.
So, Tanda, I'd like to get to understand from your own experience, because you've been in so many productions. What was your first experience, either witnessing or being part of an intimate scene, and how did you actually prepare? Because for me, if I'm put in an intimate scene, I'll be like, I have a relationship, I'm out. There are some actors who are also equally known to include some parts in their contract for them not to have intimate scenes. Kindly talk to us a little bit about your own personal experience.
It was an interesting one, and it was also completely nude, right? I was young. I was in my early 20s. So things have moved. I'm in my 40s now, just by the way. I know, I don't look it, right? So I was in my early 20s. This must have been like 15 years or so ago. So times have changed and times have moved from then. I agreed because I didn't know better. My experience was, first of all, not pleasant because the person was not clean. In terms of hygiene, we are talking scent and all those kind of things. I was also at a point where I was desperate in life. I wanted the role at all cost. It was an international film by a Frenchman, I won't mention it. So I was like, this is my first international opportunity, let me grab it. Boy, was I wrong. So at the time, I didn't know my rights. As a female, I didn't have boundaries. I knew nothing. The word boundaries didn't even exist in my head. So when I say times have changed now, with social media and all of that growing, I mean, there was only Facebook at the time. So people, the youth has grown now. A 23-year-old, 25-year-old would never agree to what I agreed to back then. So the youth is more woke, but my experience was an unpleasant one. I do believe that we'll touch on the boundaries later, which is what I'd like to focus mostly on, but it was not pleasant at all.
I would like to ask you a follow-up question, which is, did it affect you psychologically, and how did you recover from that?
This is how it affected me psychologically. I came in with a mentality of a graduate, you know? I've spent so many years studying this thing. I know it. It's not that simple. Acting is very technical, spiritual, and all sorts of things that you've mentioned. We spend a lot of time while studying doing a subject called movement. In a movement class, you are basically taught, I don't know if any of you are drama students here, but you are taught how to sense another human being. I mean, studying drama, you can imagine, is something so sacred because it's personal. It's your personal experience. It's your body that they are going to touch. It's not like studying to be a doctor or any other professionalities. It is you that you are giving to you are the business. So because of that, I found myself being slightly disturbed by the fact that my co-worker had no experience in that. They came in as, oh, we're going to have a sex scene. Oh, it's going to be fun. No, I'm here thinking, I'm at work. This is professional. This is movement. This is dance. This is choreography. Oh no, that's not where they were. They were in it because of their personal reasons. So that's another challenge that you might face as an actor, that you come in as a professional, the other person come in with their own agenda, and you can't control what happens out of you as a performer.
Isaboke, I know you told us about the credits that you can't follow up. Is there a moment where you were involved in an intimate scene, and then how did you prepare for that as well?
I mean, as an actor, if Ruben approaches me and tells me we are doing a story and I'm already on board, he will personally tell me that there are scenes that are intimate. And as an actor, my job is to become, you see? So if the job requires me to be intimate, and the person that I am playing the intimate scene with is comfortable, and I am comfortable to play this intimate scene with, and the director knows how to take us through the short list and vile anataka to perform your scene, I usually don't have a problem with it as long as everyone else around us is comfortable to do that scene. So sometimes we walk around eggshells on this topic. Personally, my biggest break was on a soap opera. And intimacy in a soap opera is constant because you have to constantly hold someone and tell them how you love them, or tell them how much you don't love them, or how you don't want to be with them. So I feel like intimacy shouldn't be approached in a vilifying kind of way, you see, because I've been in intimate scenes before. And as long as I treat that scene as professional as possible and respect my fellow actors' boundary, and everyone else in the crew respects our boundary and what we are willing to do, as long as I signed on that project and I was aware that there was something or there's a scene that involves intimacy in that specific project, and I signed on, I shouldn't have a problem with it. Because in a situation where you don't want to be in a situation whereby you are already told about this, and then you get to the day of shooting this scene, and then you're like, oh no, me, I don't want this. And most writers don't just litter intimate scenes in the story, because that intimacy has to have importance in the story, you know, because there's intimate scenes that are just littered and you'll be like, nah, why are we kissing? Why are we touching each other, you see? But once you've gotten past that and you understand why that intimate scene is in the story, as an artist, my job is to I'll become that person. And I get what you said about being in relationships and your partner saying, oh, if I see you kissing someone else on TV, it will be like this. But nikikukatia ulikuwa unajua mimi ni actor. And I have a friend of mine who they were doing a Rora show, and then one of the aunties told the girl, you know, this person every once in a while kisses people on screen. We don't want to come to start handling cases at you saw this one kissing this one on screen and you get pissed, because first of all, there's no emotional attachment, and if it gets there, you should probably take it outside the set and never let it affect your work, you know. But I don't advocate for that to get there, you see. But I don't see intimate scenes as a problem. Like Ruben had stated earlier, it's part of life. When you go home, your spouse expects you to show a certain level of affection. And affection sometimes involves touch. You have to kiss your person, you have to hold your person in a passionate way. And if the scene dictates that you do that, then I signed on to the project. Why should I have reservations?
Okay. Best performer. Okay. Ruben, I know in the African setup, and I'm saying Africa because it has everything to do with culture, the French kiss a lot. Within their culture, you know, they kiss a lot. Western Europeans kiss a lot. Even gentlemen kiss on their cheek like that. In Africa, we've villainized these intimate scenes. How can we make sure, or is it our responsibility as an industry to train people and tell them the importance of these scenes? Or it's just our job as storytellers to tell the story? Because you find like some parents might villainize even the whole career in itself. You're an actor, you're an actress, they villainize everything. They're like, you can't be an actor because it's linked to promiscuity. How best would you handle such?
Okay, so I'll be a bit everywhere trying to answer your question, but because I need to build context. How many guys have read the Sexual Offense Act of Kenya 2017? Kenyans in the house? I think it's been amended again 2022. How many guys have read it? Okay, you guys need to create some time and have a look at it. And this intimacy coordination thing came about during the time there was a Me Too movement, I think in South Africa. And the whole idea about intimacy coordinators is to create an environment which will protect the actor, the crew, the editors, and also the audience. Because what would happen in a scenario where people are doing intimate scenes, many people, like what she has explained and what Isaboke has explained, would end up getting a bit scarred, okay? So there's a very thin line. There's a very thin line between what you think is sexy to sexual offense, okay? So because of that, then the intimacy coordinator needs to create an environment on the set, and this environment is purely driven by consent, and just like what he's spoken about, that these discussions happen before you sign the contract, but that consent can be withdrawn even at the time of shooting the scene. You can say, look, I know I said I can shoot half naked, but I think I want to change my mind, okay? And that's the main context why intimacy coordinators come in, and that's why we're having this discussion. It's to create an environment where actors like her and like Isaboke will go in and do the scene in a very respectful way and go home feeling their dignity is intact and don't feel any embarrassment or second embarrassment or stuff like that. And the same thing needs to be passed on even to the editors, so that the editor who is going to edit needs to know that there's a scene that is coming that has a bit of violent rape scenes, because you never know if someone has trauma or has a past that could affect them. You understand that? So that's the main bigger context of why we are doing this. Are we shying away from it? Yes, we are shying away from it, maybe because of our culture, because of our religiosity, and maybe because how it's been portrayed. It's never been done well in a tasteful way, so that, you know, even the people who are kissing, they're not believing in what they're doing. So how do you expect me as an audience to feel like, oh wow, these people are romantically involved? So that has lacked for the longest time. We now have intimacy coordinators who are being trained. There are few in this country. I've worked with few. And the end product has been the actors are happy, The crew is happy. Everyone walked away not feeling a certain way out of that particular context. So there's culture, there is religion. Africans, you're very religious people. But also there is a lot of advancement in terms of we have grown as a people, we are learned, we are educated, we know what we want, we have a sense of choice, what to want, when to watch it and how to watch it. Yeah.
I'll just do a follow-up question. Have you ever, so what is this coordination? Because there's the intimate scenes, yes, but what is this coordination?
So coordination is stunt. It's literally stunt. People don't do it. It's stunt. It's organization in such a way that the camera, the director is able to get what the director gets, but the actors in the scene are able to be comfortable to do it and not necessarily affect the story.
Is there a checklist?
Correct.
Is there a checklist?
It's so detailed. I wish we had intimacy coordinator here. It's so detailed to a point of mouthwash and toothbrush and all those things, okay? It might be easy for men to do intimate scenes. It might not necessarily be easy for women to do intimate scenes, okay? And sometimes in the past, boys have been naughty in those intimate scenes to throw one or two things that has not been, literally to make an abuse of the whole process, which is now sexual abuse, okay? But we have few also instances where women have abused men, and because men are supposed to be macho, men never complained about it, okay? So that's why these processes are important, so that even after you sign the contract, once we go through the stunt, we agree you're doing this, you're doing this, you're doing this, and move like this. I will breathe like this. Are you okay with it? How is my mouth? The camera will be here. I don't want my back to be shown and all that stuff. All that is written down, and we sign before we do the scene. Okay? And remember, consent can be pulled out anytime. And after this process, once we finish and the director said, cut, I have my shot, the parties retreat with the intimacy coordinator or the director to also just have a debrief. How was it? Did you feel okay? Did you feel like okay? And some of them go even further that the actor or the actress, especially the actress, because women tend to be a bit disadvantaged in this setup, they want to watch the final clip before it goes out on. So it's a masterclass. Yeah.
I love that you've shared that, because there's the aspect of power dynamics where I don't want to lose this role. So I'm just saying yes, because if I say no, then they're going to cut me out. Sometimes we are looking for a job, and if the job requires me to go to an extreme and things that I don't believe in, sometimes you'd find actors or actresses getting to points where they can't say yes or no, or they have to say that yes. The power dynamics, how do you address that? And of course, I'd like you to just touch on consent, because consent, it's a word that people use here or there for convenience. But I like, Ruben, if you have something to add on, you can add.
And then, okay, so very quickly. So it's now growing to a place where, because I got the privilege to produce Sugar Season 1. It's now growing to a place where now you no longer hug people. You literally must request. Say, can I hug you? Because some of those hugs, we know they're not normal hugs. No? Naongea sana?
Ama ziko sawa?
No, sometimes the girls can really hug you, okay?
Yes.
Yeah. I know someone who I denied work, and I'm sure they hate me for now, but I knew because they were Muslims, and they were going through Ramadan, and the director and producer were very insistent that they must be an intimate scene and they need nudity. You know, and those are discussions you need to have with your actor and be very open with them. And looking at the factors and looking at the scenarios, and I would knew what this would do even to their own personal life, it's just better to be truthful and say, look, I know you're a good actress, but you know there'll be another project. Let's just pick someone else. So that those realities that we must be very open and objective from the beginning before we sign the contract, before we move on. Yeah.
Tanda, what would you like to add on that? Because especially consent, it's a word that is very sensitive. People think they understand it, but they don't know the description of it and the detail of it. So kindly talk to us.
I will touch on that level of desperation first. Okay, so being a performing artist is a collaboration of a lot of life aspects. And we overlook that as human beings in general. All that I can say is that you can never be a great performer or performing artist without having done the personal groundwork first. He touched on the lady that was Muslim because it's a collaboration of spirituality. Like I said, it is personal. That's why we've got an actor space where an actor prepares, because at the end of the day, after the producer, the writer, the director have put together all the work, you must now relay that message and relay it correctly. And you cannot do that without the personal groundwork. So without that personal groundwork, you will lack boundaries. It's a given. So having done the personal groundwork, now looking at the consent. Okay, so now they go hand in hand. Nowadays, this didn't exist back then when I did my first intimacy scene. So what happens now is that we build our brands, personal brands, we are social media content creators and all of these things. So when you combine the two, personal brand building and the personal groundwork that you've done and what you want to portray yourself as a performer and as a character in whatever show you are portraying intimacy. So you will know when you make the choices that you make. I'm going to make an example with one or two actors that we've got, popular actors in South Africa. Cindy Dlatu plays Lindiwe in a show called The River. I don't know if any of you have seen it. She has not even a kiss, except for when she was getting married in one of the shows. She's been in the industry for about 30 years now. Not even a kiss. At the time that she had to, because now she's a co-producer in the show. So she's got more to gain. She knows what she's doing. She's developed her brand and all of those things. The value is more. She charged so much. She put in all that into one intimate scene, and it made the entire production. I think that show ran for about 7 to 8 years. But that one scene that she did had so much substance, more than anything that she's ever done on television. So you might want to keep that anticipation from your audience and know yourself, work on your brand, and build all of these things. By the time you get to the consent form or consent indemnity form, you know what you're signing, you know what you're putting down on your neck or on your lifeline by signing that consent form. So basically what I'm trying to advise the actors, if we've got any actors here, is that first know your value, know your worth, know what you are doing and why. Be intentional about it before you go on and sign. It should not be about money, because that's not what performing is about, to be honest. Performing is so deep. Being a performing artist is deeper than, what we see. So always think about it and always give it time, or the right time. Thank you.
Thank you so much for that. Isaboke, I can get into the details of you as an actor in a scene, intimate scene, but do you think it's important to have an intimacy coordinator? And in spaces where there is no intimacy coordinator, because you're also producing your own content, how best can you navigate that space? Because sometimes you do not have an intimate coordinator. I've gone to spaces where it's a shoot, yes, and maybe they are starting out. They don't even know if that is required. How best can we now aid the next generation of creators to get to understand, listen, an intimacy coach is very important?
I mean, in a space where you don't have an intimacy coordinator, the director must know what it is that they want from that scene. And most of the time, it doesn't have to get to physical intimacy. Sometimes intimacy can be the air in the air, and you see, like, it could be the tension
Aura.
in the air, you know.
Yeah.
It doesn't necessarily have to get physical. So in a situation where the intimacy coordinator is not there, because I've had directors who've taken me through intimate scenes, and most of the time it's a closed set. That doesn't help, because people are going to see it on TV. But at the end of the day, the director needs to know what exactly it is that they want. She talked about movement. Ruben talked about the choreography of it. You have to know what exactly do I want and how is it going to cut, and communicate that properly to the cast, and also put them in the psychology of doing that scene. So communication too, and making sure both parties are on board with it before it's done. And if you can avoid it, if you can avoid the physical intimacy because one of the parties is not up to it, there's so many ways that you can allude to intimacy that doesn't have to necessarily be they touched each other, they kissed each other. Because I'm sure you've seen movies where the tension is built up to the extent that they don't have to do it. You know it happened, you know. Like we could see clothes on the ground, steam on the bathroom mirror, and like there's so many ways that
Is someone who's agreeing with you, like, yes.
yeah, because there's so many ways. Like there's a way you can look at a woman and people will say, "Awa amekulana." You see, like
Ruben, do you consider that escapism?
I wanted to complicate what he's saying.
Yeah.
I'm complicating it. I'm not denying it.
it's okay. Yeah.
So they're lying inside the bed sheet, and that's why we need a whole masterclass for this. Okay? The guy is supposed to be half naked, correct? So he's only having a boxers, correct? And the lady is supposed to have lingerie, correct? And they're not doing anything, but they're close to each other, okay? And the man is feeling electricity, correct? And because the man is feeling electricity, the lady can feel that the man is feeling electricity. You understand what I mean?
Yeah.
The audience cannot see it. You understand?
Yeah.
So, and this is where the intimacy coordinator comes in. Because you see now, the lady is being abused. Am I making sense? Okay.
She's
You've
being
gotten it.
she's being psychologically tormented, and there's
Yeah.
also
Okay.
psychological abuse.
Wait.
Can I please answer that question?
No. Just attempt answering the question, because he was trying to tell it in
Yeah, so so for me, over the years in my career, I now really encourage intimacy coordinators on set.
Yeah.
Okay? You're doing a rep scene with this actress, you don't know if she has trauma, you don't know if she's experienced a similar thing, or this man is trying to play tough, but you don't know if their sister, their girlfriend went through a similar thing. So it's something bigger than just performance. And the whole idea is to preserve dignity to the actors, to the cast and crew on set, to the audience at home. So that's the main thing. And also and I agree with this, Aboke, because I've done it before where I've coordinated my own intimate scenes. But since I started working with intimate coordinators, it has taken a lot of time from my end, because they do the background checks, they do the back and forth with the actors, and by the time I'm meeting my actors and you're going through the scenes, half of my work is sort of like it's done. So yes, it's not been happening, but moving forward, it's like for camera people, it's like a new tool that is making the camera movement easier. Okay?
It's like stunt coordination. You see, before the actors come to Rube to be directed, maybe a stunt director somewhere has told them how the whole scene is going to be done. It has been choreographed. By the time they come on set, they know I'll be here, I'll punch this guy, the camera will be here, and Ampiga teke huku, he'll drop over there, the props have been set up, the whole thing is ready. Like, the movement has already been coordinated. So when you come on set, it's smooth sailing. Because people get stuck. Because you could start a scene, you don't even know where the scene is going. You'll come from the door, you'll stand there, and then you'll start kissing or doing whatever. But if it has been coordinated, if you're in the psychological headspace, you know, this is how I should approach this scene, I should handle this woman this way. And above all, after the intimacy coordinator has spoken to you, personally, you and the person that you're supposed to be in the scene with, there should be a certain level of rapport and understanding and the limits. Like, ndio tumecoordinate yo ukafika hapa. Sometimes things get out of hand, you know. There's always plus or minus. That's a guarantee. Like, a boob can slip here, a hand can slip where it's not supposed to go. So, your intimacy coordinators, it's as important as a stunt coordinator, as important as anyone else in the crew who's setting up something. Should be set up. Yeah.
Tanda, do you have something to add on? Because I saw you trying to add on something.
He asked, so when...
How? Yes.
Yes. Sorry, I forget your name? So when Ruben mentioned that when a guy or the man in the scene feels the electricity and there are things that are moving, you know, behind the girl, and the audience cannot see it, but the girl can feel it, that is traumatic. Yes, it is. First of all, it should not be happening. It goes back to...
Sometimes you can't control the
Should not be happening,
It
Tanda.
Should not.
should not.
I agree, it should not be
Shouldn't.
happening.
What do you mean?
It shouldn't happen.
It shouldn't happen in its
It
natural?
shouldn't- Naturally, it should not happen in the actor's space. An actor prepares, guys. An actor's space, you prepare for this moment. It is choreography. It is technical. It should not be happening.
Ruben, you're saying yes. I don't understand that part. I don't know.
Yes.
Maybe to an untrained actor or actress.
Professionalism.
Professionally, it shouldn't be happening.
shouldn't be
But
happening.
naturally, some things happen. Even when a stunt coordinator coordinates a fight and say, like, don't hit, because the fight is supposed to. Sometimes the punch connects. I've been hit every once in a while on set.
It doesn't
Punch
take
will connect.
it doesn't take
Everyone-
away from the fact that it is a traumatic experience, because as a professional actor, you are not expecting it.
Okay.
Right?
Okay.
You are telling yourself that we are, like I mentioned, imagine spending 3 years of your life in class every day learning how not to do that. And then you get to the professional world and then you do it. You failed as an actor.
Okay.
So it doesn't take away from it. So the trauma comes from it not, it not having to happen, or the girl not expecting it to happen. That's the first part. And then the second part, it goes back to what I was saying earlier about the personal groundwork. You mentioned a lot of things about the triggers. You don't know if it's going to trigger the post-traumas for the other person or the other actor. It's your job as an actor to do the personal ground, go through the healing. It's not the director's or the producer's problem. It's not the writer's problem. You as an actor should get there readily and readily available, and as a vessel to just open up and just take in whatever the director wants, obviously with boundaries, of course.
And also, like, just to add on it, as an actor, before you sign onto any project, just make sure. I know some actors have this habit of not going through the script. Please make sure you've gone through the script, you've asked the necessary questions, so that it doesn't creep up on you when you get on set and you're like, so tomorrow we're shooting that intimate scene, and you have no idea because you didn't go through the script, you don't know, and now you're in a position where you might frustrate production because things have to move, and now we're in a position where Isaboke has said this scene can't go on because he feels he's not mentally prepared for this scene because you didn't go through the script and ask the necessary question at the initial point of conversation before this project began. Like, just know the landscape of the projects that you're going to go into, you know.
Yeah. Ruben, you're going to give us a response to the same or
Quickly,
an
yeah,
add-on,
so-
and then we have about 7 minutes to get questions from you. If you have any question, we would definitely want to hear from you. I'll only cut a curve on 3 questions, and then we'll continue.
So let me break it even down further. And the thing about intimacy coordination is once you start discussing it, it gets a bit graphic, okay? So the script says, and he moves in and kisses her passionately, okay? So if we're going to break down what kissing means, it can be lips kissing. There are those who kiss with their tongue inside the mouth of the other person. Should I proceed or should I leave it there?
Tuko sawa?
Okay.
Iko joto ama tuko sawa?
Okay. There are those
Electricity.
who kiss and then they start licking the lips and biting of the other person. There are those who, it can go on and on, okay? The definition of the male actor of he kisses her and the definition of the female actress of he kisses her are different. Are you understanding my point? And that's why as petty as that must be discussed and agreed on paper. So that yes, you're kissing me, but let's define this kissing. Are you having your tongue all over my mouth, or are you, this girl is shy, so.
Yeah.
And that's why intimacy coordination is so important. If I can go back to the same example I gave of two actors inside a bed sheet. You guys are only seeing this side, okay? That's where the camera is, okay? And whatever has happened. The other side I said maybe it's the guy feeling the lady's thing. This other side, I've heard of a story of when it was cut, do you know what the lady did? He went for the guy's things and whatever and then walked out. So now the guy cannot come out of the scene. He's like, go and change, but he can't stand up, okay? An intimacy coordinator in an intimate scene like that, they create a scenario and they come with code words so that in the event the lady, the actress or the actor feels a bit uncomfortable, they can call for 5. Even when the director feels Isaboke is now feeling, Sasa, this is the moment, you know, the emotions. If you're feeling like, this guy is going slightly more beyond, you can say, I need 5, and we cut there. And whatever we have recorded will not make it, because it's not a representation of what I had agreed. So this is a very important person in a very interesting waters we are playing with in terms of producing content that protects the actor and everyone on set.
Hi, thank you so much for that. Tuwapigie makofi tafadhali. I'd like someone to help us pass the microphone across. If you have a question, you can carry up your hand and we'll definitely get it to you because we'd like to hear what you have to say. In terms of questions, do you have a question? I'm only going to get 3 and that'll be it. So I'm seeing one hand over here, another one there, and okay, I'll add you as the 4th one, but make them short and precise. Can we get a microphone to roam around kindly? Kindly, any extra microphone? Do you have an extra microphone? You can just tell us your name and then just ask your question.
Hello, everyone.
Hi.
My name is Precious, and I have a question to Mr. Ruben. Okay, concerning what Miss Tanda said about her experience as the first and the only time she had an intimate scene. There is an obvious bias, an obvious patriarchal bias, evident in intimate scenes, like where the men show up, like, you know, I'm in the scene, I'm in the zone, let's go have fun. But the women, it's more complex for a woman. It's not, I'll just show up, strip, then we get this over with. And her experience was not so good. So as a director, you are in charge of the set, you are in charge of your actors and your actresses. What efforts do you put in place to bridge this gap, this bias gap that is very evident in intimate scenes? That's my first question. The second question is, when actors misbehave in intimate scenes, do you, as a director, hold the one who has misbehaved accountable? Or do you sweep it under the rug because it's gonna make you bank in the end, at the end of everything? Those are my questions.
Yeah, just respond, please.
So, working with an intimacy coordinator is such a beautiful thing for any director because they take care a lot of that stuff you're talking about. By the time we are meeting, there's no bias. I've just finished a film which we hope to premiere in April, and all the actors, you'll watch an actor who never does intimate scenes and did intimate scenes and came out and she's so confident up to now. Because we spoke about all those things, what you can see, what you cannot see. Even if you use my double, what that double cannot express, because you see, the audience will not know that you used a double. The audience will always relate. So the intimacy coordinator plays a major role for that. If an actor breaks what we've agreed on paper, do you know what happens? The Sexual Offense Act comes into play. Now that's a police case. Me, I was present, I witnessed. This is what we agreed. We agreed you're not going to touch her bum. This is what you did. So now it's a police case. I need you guys to read that thing. You will be very careful how you hug your people. It's especially in Kenya, it's a very, very tight law, okay? So there are very harsh consequences. I mean, you can fire people, you can whatever, but ultimately, what we sign is not above the law, is not above the constitution. Once the act comes in, I tell people, once there's a sexual offense on set, once the act comes in, it's a police case. I'm not in that story.
Okay, thank you for that precise answer. I only have 2 minutes to go. I have 3 other hands. I don't know how I'm going to run that. Just ask your question, but make it precise. Don't go into description, please.
Yes, Jumbo, good afternoon. Yes, my name is Felipe Sagwa. I'm a film enthusiast and quite a harsh critic of films. And my question will rather be 2-part so that it may, be understood well. My question will fall into this, right? So there's this, the intimacy scene and all about the intimacy. And my question will be posed in this way. What is the purpose of this intimacy in the storytelling of the narrative, rather than it being Pornhub on steroids on TV, whereby we can be able to avoid stunts and still show passion and love, or be able to use the intimacy parts to show love and passion, which at the end of the day is the point of intimacy, rather than it being every time we want to show an intimate scene, we have to run to sex stunts. That would be my question. Thank you very much.
I think it was partly answered within the conversation, but someone can add on.
It's not a must. You don't have to have the intimate scenes unless it's a key scene that drives the story forward. And also it's very heavily dependent on what kind of story you're telling, So the scene doesn't have to be there. And like we said before, there are so many ways of showing intimacy without getting physical. So it's not necessary unless that story, that specific scene is a key driver of the story. If it's a rape scene, if the rape scene is the setup for the whole story, there has to be that rape scene. You see, yeah. So it doesn't have to be unless it's a key point in the storytelling.
Let me give a quick example. How many guys have watched Shaka Ilembe? Where all the extras, the men are bare chest and the women are half naked. How many guys have watched it? Can you imagine that series without intimacy coordinators? As in, even when the boom guy does this and touches the breast of an extra, it can be a cat case. What did I say? Court case.
Yes.
So that's why it's important. Yeah. Anyway, proceed.
Thank you. I'm being told my time is up. Make it short and sweet, kindly.
Yes. Good evening, everyone. My name is Kevin Wiga. I'm an emerging filmmaker. My question is, I understand that our stories have intimacies, and to these intimacies, I've come to realize that majority of our films here in Kenya, we have started to engage into much of intimacy. I don't know if it's my prompting of the series that I get to watch, or is the industry growing? But the question is, I've watched a lot of films with intimacy, and I felt some are too intimate, which you feel like it was not worth to watch, and it was not worth to watch. How do you guys regulate to these kind of films, like maybe a feature film that have intimacy, like to regulate, to show the perfection or the affection of love and everything? Any person can answer. Thank you.
I think we are circling. Yeah, we are circling. It's pretty much the same response to almost everything that has been answered, but any expression from my panelists?
The Kenya Film Classification Board does not regulate, it classifies. So depending on how deep your intimate scenes, it will decide if it's 13, PG, 16, or 21. Okay? Depending on if we really need that scene or not, Isaboke has explained it, and most of the time, because the director is the custodian of the story, then it's the director's call. Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, there was an expression over here. Yes, there's a gentleman over here. Tafadhali.
Good evening. My name is Joshak. My question is, instead of using somebody who is going to see the incidents of intimacy as being traumatized, why can't you just use people who are ready to take the roles, people who are ready to take that part, instead of using people who are going to shy away from the role?
Because even traumatized people deserve work. So now, because of those traumatized people is why we have intimacy coordinators on set. Yeah, like that's one of the biggest reasons, bro. Like, you can't ostracize someone from a job just because they're traumatized. And like I said before, those conversations are hard before the job begins. So if they have reservations, nowadays when you go for auditions, a director usually has options. If the first option won't work, the second option will be called in. But if you're ever in a position to give someone work, don't deny them work because they are traumatized. Yes.
Yeah, I'm being told we have more time. Okay. We have more time. So if you have any other question, you could ask. And then I want it to be more of an expression. Yeah, so don't worry about time. Sorry about the guys I hurried with their questions. So if you have a question, you can actually ask.
Oh, okay. First of all, good afternoon. My name is Daniel Muturi. I'm an actor. I have two questions. There was one question here that was asked. I don't recall if it was answered, whereby I think it was directed to you, Tanda, whereby where's the gap for, since for the most part, how am I going to say this? Yes, in that POV whereby women for the most part, when it comes to intimacy, yeah, it's very 50-50 or it's more sensitive compared to men. And as for my second question, where do we, say for instance, I want to be an intimacy coordinator, right? Where would I, other than like the internet, online, where would I get this sort of training, especially in this country? You know?
No, I love it. I think you're able to answer that because I only know of one intimacy
There are currently
coordinator.
2 certified intimacy coordinators in Kenya. Kababai, I don't know his other name. What's Kababa's other name?
It's usually Kababa.
Mike. It's called Mike?
Kababa, Mike.
I've forgotten the other name. Michael someone.
Jones.
Michael Jones, yes. Michael Jones and Nice Githinji. Those are the 2 certified intimacy coordinators in Kenya. I know there's one from Rwanda. I know there are other people who are doing it, but they are still under training to get certified. Reach out to KFC, Kenya Film Commission, and who else? And check out an organization online called Safe Sets. And the whole idea about intimacy coordinator is to create safe sets. So that's why it's called Safe Sets. Check them out. It's not cheap, but I will encourage most of us to try that. You know, most of us want to be directors. Or people who come for internship at Multan want to be DOP or directors. There are many aspects of film, even as the industry is growing, that you can explore. And they're really encouraging men to become intimacy coordinators because we end up having a lot of women intimacy coordinators. Currently, in all Netflix commission shows, you cannot shoot them without intimacy coordinators. So it's a growing trend. I think in the next few years, 3-4 years, it will be like a proper requirement on any given set.
Yeah. Do you have more questions from the audience? Or you have a follow-up question? It's okay. Oh, and Tanda, if you have recommendations for where people can actually study, it's either online.
It wasn't, sorry to interrupt, it wasn't just the where to get the training. It was more like the question, the gap between, you really had a good question, could you please?
Was it how do we close the gap?
Yes, how do you bridge the gap?
How do we bridge the gap? That's more of a personal work. You know what I mean? it's going to depend on the choices that you make in your career path. If you don't have boundaries, if you don't look at the consent form, if you just go about shooting whatever, whenever, however, you have not even studied, because most people just think, oh, you know, I think I'm beautiful enough, I can act. It's not, listen, it's not that easy. It's not that simple. So it depends on the personal choices that you make. You can't just make poor life choices because, like I said, you are selling your personal brand as a performing artist. Doesn't matter what you do. If you're a musician, a dancer, or whatever, you're selling yourself. So in the life choices that you make, you get to a point where you call the shots because of the value that you've built yourself through what? The choices that you've made yourself. That's how you can bridge the gap. Otherwise, there's no other way. It's a patriarchal world. It's a man's world. Right now, we're not sure if it's going to be like that in the next 30 years, but right now, that's how it is. But it all depends on your personal groundwork. That's all.
Yeah, just to remind you that it's a man's world, but it means nothing without a woman or a girl.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah,
Clock it.
yeah, there's more questions over there. Oh, the girls were like, clock it. Okay. We have a question over there. Yeah, right there. Yes.
Okay, you've said about, Isaboki has talked about you cannot deny somebody a job because of the being traumatized. But you have vetting process. So you could ask the person if they have had mental or social issues before giving them the role. Because you cannot give person or a capacity which is not going to hold it. So I think you should be considering about the capacity of the person. Is he able to take the role to avoid these cases?
Mostly on an audition form, if that show has intimate scenes, that question is usually highlighted there. If you're comfortable with nudity or intimacy in that, unless Rubesi, they're usually on the contract, or not even the contract, the audition form. Those questions are usually there. So if you haven't gotten over any kind of trauma that you have leading to that situation, then that's when you should open up and say, I'm not comfortable with this. And even after you've passed the audition, you'll sit down with the directors and the producers and you'll have these conversations. That's the point where you as an actor, you should be open and be free enough to talk about your traumas. Because if you don't, then production is going to stall because you didn't disclose something.
Okay, so the main thing you should not overdo when you're acting.
No, the main thing, you should be open to speak about your traumas.
Yeah, no, I'm talking about the acting role. Now you are acting, you're in the process. So you should not overdo to make the other person uncomfortable.
Now sasa hapo vile wamesema, now that's where the intimacy coordinator comes. Before you come on set, all things will be choreographed. When you're coming on set, you're just copy-pasting what the intimacy coordinator had directed, and then ikapitishwa na director. That's what you guys will be doing. So it's not like you're being thrown in the dark. Yeah, because your intimacy director is actually to take you through this intimate scene step by step. And if you have a question, and if you have something to disclose, this is where you disclose these things.
Thanks.
Okay, I think we are doing well. There's a gentleman over here. This is the first time I'm seeing gentlemen asking more questions than the ladies. And ladies, I thought you're going to be louder on this one. There's one over here, and then, there's a lady over here. So as soon as you're done, we'll give it to the lady.
Okay. This is my question. Let's say, so you've said after those who are involved in the intimacy scene have done their thing, they can ask to preview it before it goes to the world. Now, are there times, let's say those who are involved, they looked at that footage before you uploaded it to the world, and then they decide they don't want it to go, they don't want it to be shared with the world, and if that happens, now what do you do? And let's say you had a very fixed budget for the film.
Ruben, I think you're in position to answer
so that's a very good question. So one, we can see how we can re-edit it. I also need you guys to understand that sometimes in the edit, the footage takes a life of its own. And sometimes even directors, we have to tone it down because I remember there's an intimate scene we shot and we decided because it's a telenovela, let's use a silhouette. So, we are doing it, the light behind them, and then we are filming through curtains, so almost seeing like their shadows, okay? It ended up looking more graphic than we even, than we even thought. So there's that option that we can edit it down. There's the option that we can remove it completely. How bad is it? And purely, it's an issue of discussion. It's really, really an issue of having a discussion between you and the actors. There's some which you never saw on the monitor, but on the edit, you realize it portrays that cast or actor or actress in a bad light. We are seeing something that, ideally is a bit offensive. So then we decide to remove it. So there are many challenges on the edit. It's purely a collaborative process. We discuss and we decide, do we need to keep it? Do we need to remove it? Do we need to edit it down? Do we need to add more?
I love,
And if you don't have budget, if you don't have budget, you'll ask this question. Do we need this scene in this movie? Because if you don't have budget to go reshooting that scene, that's the question you should ask yourself. Does it serve the story? Does it move the story forward?
Yeah, and that's actually what I wanted to ask. If it was a very important part of the story, now what do you do?
And now, as a director, Sasa, you see, that's where your creativity comes in. You think if the actors are uncomfortable with the scene that's there, now you find ways to portray intimacy that doesn't involve touching or the nini. Or as they allude, you can allude. Throw a bra and panties on the floor and then cut to the next scene, or them in bed talking about how thrilling it was. You don't have to put the actual action there.
Yeah, so I think it begs the question, intimacy scenes, are they one take?
Oh, no.
Sometimes.
So I'd like to know, because if it's one take and you're done with it and the person is not comfortable, then are you going to reshoot the scene? Or?
So sometimes, and it's a there's no yes or no answer. Let me give you another good example where the script says, they kiss. She removes his shirt, the guy unbuttons the bra, and then the guy carries the lady to the bed, whatever, and we shot that. But in the edit, that carrying, we realize, this guy, the lady is heavier, so the guy is struggling. So what we had envisioned to be a romantic moment of Cinderella is not happening on the edit. The director removes it. Not because it's bad, but because it's not working. So the reason why a scene is removed, there are many aspects to it. Okay? Not necessarily budget. There are many aspects to it. Yes, we shot it, but on the edit, imekata. Tunaona, let me pick on Isaboke because he's here. Tunaona Isaboke anaswetuku. It's not looking nice. And then we tell ourselves, it's going to big screen. So imagine if this was a close-up of Isaboke's armpits. Now imagine in the cinemas. The armpit is like this.
Yeah.
Let's just remove it, okay?
Okay.
Yeah, so there's no yes or no. There are many factors that lead to those decisions to be made.
Okay. There's the lady over here. Oh, sorry. Oh, there's another one. Yeah.
Hello, my name is Whitney Kibara. I'm an upcoming producer at Mbugiwood. So, Mr. Ruben, this is to you. I think you've been in the game for a bit. So, are there plans to institutionalize this intimacy coordination role now that you actually mentioned that it's in the law? And I can tell you from experience, we are currently working to do community screenings for a GBV film. But we're having a lot of clash of cultures with the Teacher Service Commission, with churches, because they have issues with kissing scenes, they have issues with maybe the film shows some scenes that might be actually very sensitive for the audiences, for the kids. And you find that at KFCB, they already classified the film, and they already rated it at 13. But I'm still arguing with the teachers about having this role, and maybe explaining it seems like I don't want to butcher my film, but if we have a role like that as an institution in such boardroom engagements, then it's easier for them to explain why this scene is important as it is without changing the story. Are there plans? Is it in the game plan?
So if I get correctly, your question is more about culture, than about the law. It's an issue of time. We were struggling to watch Kenyans kissing. Now we can accommodate it. Now I see shows that are pushing the boundaries, so maybe it's an issue of time. I think if I get correctly, your question is purely about whether we'll get to a point where those things can be regulated. Why, for me, it's important to have an intimacy coordinator on set is because if the law was to apply, the Sexual Offense Act was to apply in Kenyan film sets today, half of you will be in jail. Half of you will be in jail. I kid you not. So we have a very vibrant, activist, inclined constitution. I don't know if you people realize that. Or you only think your right is to andamana. Okay? So it really protects you. It really protects you. And also I think we are growing an industry, and growing an industry is not only pay rise, but it's also building protocols and infrastructure and creating context where people can work with a lot of dignity.
I love that you've shared that.
And also I think if it's already been shot and it's already been classified by KFCB, if someone is uncomfortable with it, they should click the next movie. You see, eh?
Okay. I just wanted to ask, I know you'll ask, just pass the microphone, but it's just a side note of, isn't it important to have this in our curriculums already? Because there's film, there's television, there's a lot of unlearning we need to do with the entire education system, but don't you think it should be a unit so that someone learns it as we continue? So
yeah, and it's coming. Yeah. It's coming. You know, I was talking to actors on Friday, and the problem we have in this country, don't stone me, guys. Guys, we are only almost 25 years active in terms of TV and cinema. And I think we started with Malund and then Papa Shurandal and then Tahidi.
And they're constantly comparing us to an industry that's 130 years old.
And we always try to compare ourselves with Nollywood, or rather Hollywood. You know what I mean? So all these things are coming. We are better off where we were 5 years ago. In the next 5 years, there'll be a lot of changes. So now that film is being taught in school, I foresee that in the next 3, 4, 5 years, there'll be a lot of change that is coming. Yeah.
Okay, finally.
Hello. My name is Pamela Keriako. I am a director and producer from Uganda. And my question is to Isaboke. Not so much as a question, more like an observation. Must one be traumatized to need an intimacy coach on set? It can't be more of a respect thing?
They don't have to be traumatized. For me, I feel like it's a question of comfort. Yeah? How comfortable are you to do this in front of people in a way that respects your dignity? And also as a person, atoki katianga dem. Sorry, Tando. Probably.
She's Ugandan. You have to say
when you're wooing a girl, you know, most of the time you have to be very respectful. So most girls don't know how to respond to violent wooing, you know. And we've seen girls every now and then saying online, I don't like being catcalled. It's important to walk up to a girl and speak to her politely. And if you speak to her politely, she might give you these things. And when we are on set, the same etiquette should be transferred. Just look at your fellow actor as a human being and respect the boundaries that they have. Approach him or her, because there are cases where the girls are the aggressors, and there are cases where men are the aggressors. Just respect. If you put respect on the table, a lot of things will go smoothly. And the case of traumatizing, I was answering him because he was saying, if someone is traumatized, don't give them the work. But now the intimacy coordinator comes in and makes the environment comfortable enough for the traumatized person to actually do this job and not risk losing the job, you see. Yeah. So by the end of the day, being in Kenya, the jobs are far in between. Yeah. And if you're losing a job because of an intimacy scene, now this is where the intimacy coordinator comes in and makes sure you're comfortable enough and the two parties respect each other and they respect each other's boundaries. Kama walisema, there's no touching the tushy. Don't touch the girl's tushy and vice versa, you see. So it doesn't have to be the case of trauma to
And that's how we've come to the end of this amazing session. Ladies, gentlemen, you've been amazing. Thank you for your responses. Thank you to my panelists as well. Ruben Odanga, what would be your parting shot as we go on to the next session?
Thank you, guys. We're screening a film, Nigeria, Kenya production tonight called Safari. Please come. We have the director on board. We have the lead actors, Mugo, Emmanuel, and Osas. The other name is a bit difficult, and we'll have a very quick Q&A. So I'm looking forward to see you guys there. We learn and we enjoy.
Is it
Thank
free?
you. No, it's 1,000 bob. Yeah, it's 1,000 bob, and tickets should be sold at Kenya, at Sanaa Post. But if you check Multan Productions pages, you'll find all that information.
Tanda.
I would like to thank everyone for coming through today. I also would like to thank the Kenya Film Commission for the invite. I would also like to give a shout out to the Gauteng Film Commission, where I come from, and the NFVF from South Africa. It's interesting, just a quick one. It's very interesting that I thought of, you know, like a Kenyan way to greet or say goodbye or whatever, but the first thing that came to mind was Karibu Giti. And I was like, but no, you are the one that is welcomed there, you know, not them. But anyway, so.
Just say Karibuni.
Karibuni.
Yeah.
Isn't that welcome?
Yeah, that's how we do it. Welcome.
Yeah, but I shouldn't be saying I'm visiting.
Yeah, you're visiting, but are you inviting us to South Africa?
Oh yeah,
Yeah, say Karibuni.
Karibuni. Thank you so much, guys, and thank you for having me. Thank you for listening. I've had an amazing experience in Kenya. I love it in Nairobi. I am definitely coming back. Thank you, guys.
Yes. Isaboke?
All I'd say is write intimate scenes in your stories if they're necessary. And also, when you're engaging with the intimate scenes, be respectful of each other, listen to each other. First of all, when you're working with, as an actor, your first tool is your ears. Listen to what the other person is saying and muheshimiane. Respect is paramount on a set, and like I've said, don't write it if you don't need it.
Thank you very much. I've been your host, Brian Aseli. Support me, support my content, support my things. One, I'm on radio, Nation FM, every day, 10 a.m. to 2 p.m. TV on Friday, I do 2 shows. There's Trendsetters from 8 p.m. to 9 p.m., 10 p.m. to midnight Friday Night Rave with Claudia Naisabwa. God bless you. Take care. Amina, thank you so much.